guys, and welcome to this video where I'm going to be walking you through how to know that your garlic is fully cured and the steps that we use after it's cured before I bring it in the house and put it in the pantry for its final spot to sit for the winter months. My name is Melissa K. Norris. I am the author of the Made from Scratch Life, Handmade, my new book, which is not out until January, but it's the Family Garden Plan, and also the host of the Pioneering Today podcast, and I am thrilled to have you with me here today. So this garlic, if you did not catch on when and how to harvest your garlic and get it curing, you're going to want to make sure that you go back and watch that. So I'll put a link in the video description and also pop that up here so you can go and check that out. But this garlic has actually been curing for about close to 4 weeks, mainly because we were super busy bringing in all the rest of the harvest, and we did go on a family vacation during that time period. So it's ready to get this cleaned up and brought in the house before our rains start to set in here. We live in the Pacific Northwest in Western Washington, and so we have a pretty short window of time when it's actually warm and dry enough to cure everything before our rainy periods come in. So this is what the garlic looks like, and how you can tell that it is cured is, one, this whole stalk and stem is going to be fully dry. So there should be no green whatsoever anywhere anymore on these stalks. All this outer layer is going to be very papery, so you can just pull that off. And any dirt that was left on it, because when the dirt's wet, I don't brush it off or clean it. We just pull them and let them cure with the dirt on there. But it's going to be very dusty and dry. So basically you are looking for absolutely no moisture content. So I'll show you up close and personal here. Let me bring the camera in a little bit closer. How I go about prepping each of these, and then I actually like to braid my soft net garlic so that it's easy to hang and easy to store inside the house. So you can see this is an up close and personal view here of this bulb of garlic. And this, what we're mainly concerned about is the part here on the stem, that this part is fully cured and fully dry. This is usually the thickest part and where most of the moisture will hang out. It's going to dry out first the further away. Obviously these are smaller, it's going to dry out first. So this is really where we want to investigate, and we want to make sure that this part is fully dry. So it's totally fine if you want to take a few of these outer layers and you're going to kind of remove those, and everything should feel like you can hear it. You can hear this, that it's very dry and it's very rustly, but you can kind of remove that just to make sure that this looks white and dry all the way through, which this one does. The other thing that I do is I don't do anything with the roots when I'm first pulling this up and harvesting. I wait until we have fully cured before I do anything. But you are going to have some dirt that are in these roots, and you don't want to store it with all these roots and all this dirt in your house just because it takes up space. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to have any more dirt in the house than necessary to then clean up for later. So I will just take the roots up like this and just use a pair of garden scissors or a pair of scissors. And then I'll do that over here so I don't actually drop this on the ground. It will just drop to my wooden working table out here in our outdoor kitchen. There you got these, we can just toss those, and then you can see, so that's all trimmed up. And then I will remove this outer layer that still has a lot of that dried dirt on it, just so that it's a little bit more cleaned up. And you can just kind of rub your fingers over that, and as long as it's not really dirty, then I don't worry about it too much. So I just kind of take off the part that's the dirtiest to make sure that this is all really dry. And we can see that this is all really dry, all cleaned up. So this one is ready to go in the pile to then be assembled into a braid. Now this one here, this is my hardneck garlic. And so when you have your hardneck garlic, you cannot absolutely in any way, shape or form bend this in a way that you can actually braid it. That's why it's called hardneck. It's very hard. This was also a lot smaller bulb because this one had went to flower and bolted before I pulled it, but that's okay. So on these ones, I am just going to, this one's so small that I really won't bother with braiding it, but I still will clean this up a little bit. And this guy is going to just go right into the kitchen. In fact, this is probably one where I would just kind of smash it because it is so small. And I would just put this in whole if I was making broth or something like that where I would be straining it out. You could use it for cooking, but the littler the cloves, the harder it is. So this is one where I'm not even going to bother trying to put it up in some type of storage just because it's so small. So I just go ahead and we're going to cut that. And then I'll just put this in a basket in the kitchen to use right away. Time to get the rest of these all cleaned up. So you can see where this outer layer did have some moisture on it when we first pulled it while it was entering into the curing and drying process. So I want to make sure I remove that. It is fully dried now, but it just doesn't look very pretty. And so we're going to remove any of the areas that are dirt or show any type of mildew that was drying. So it's just nice and pretty, white and clean. And sometimes if they're really dry, like this one, you will actually just go ahead and pull the top off. And that's okay, because this is one I'm just gonna finish cleaning up. And like I said, I will put it in my little basket for immediate use, and it won't go into the braid for winter storage. You can see why I do this outside. It's a bit of a messy project. Now I have almost separated out most of, this is one soft neck that I did not get. Most of my soft neck I already have separated out and in my pile to use for our braids. And then I left the hard neck here in the basket. But it's the same cleaning up process you're going to use for the hard neck that you do for the soft neck. That part doesn't really change. Just to make these a little bit more manageable, I'm going to go ahead and trim that down. And these little tiny ones, I just go ahead and chop off. These are going to be great additions to broth, and we're also going to talk about using them medicinally in just a moment. Now we can really easily sweep clean this, one of the advantages to doing it outside, and we're gonna get to braiding. Here we have all of our lovely garlic. Now when I braid mine, I like to take one of the largest bulbs and I use those as the base of my braid. So I kind of will separate them out by size just a little bit. These ones are about the 3 biggest. That one we can peel that paper back just a little bit more because it's already starting to come undone. And then I position those like this, and then I'm actually going to tie these together at the top here to start my braid. Jute twine works good for everything. So here we have our braid. So now we're gonna put our next piece here. I'm gonna put it in the center, and we're gonna pull this piece over top. Then I'm gonna put this piece on the side here, and we're gonna pull this one over the center. Then we've got this one that's gonna go on the side. And now I need to pull this piece over so that we're touching those, and it goes into the center. So now I've got 2 centers and 2 sides. I'm going to go back to the center here, and I'm going to pull this over to now become a center piece. So you can see how we're weaving these stalks in. This is going to go here on the outside, and it's going to become the center. And you just repeat this over and over again. So now this one, it becomes the center. And now we're at the end of our braid here. So I like to continue braiding these just a little bit more to hold those end ones. So we're gonna go, we gotta come over this way, and then we go this way, and we're gonna go one more this way. And then I'm pretty much at the end of the material that I can actually braid from these stalks. So now we're just gonna take our jute twine, and we are going to wrap that around, and we're gonna tie this off. So if you wanna wrap it around a couple of times to get it good and tight, you can do so. One of the great things about having your own garlic, though you can totally do this with store-bought garlic, but there's something special about when you get to raise and harvest it yourself and it's growing from your own land. One, you totally know what's been on it, what it's been growing on, what hasn't been sprayed with, which in this case sprayed with absolutely nothing, is you can then use it to make your own natural remedies and medicine. Garlic is one of the ingredients in fire cider, which is a great herbal home remedy to have on hand during cold and flu season. And I have a full recipe and podcast episode all about diving into how you make it, its history, and the great properties that it has. So I will have the link below so that you can go and check that out. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure that you hit subscribe so that you don't miss any of them when they come out. And if learning how to grow and harvest your own food is something you're interested in, I hope that you are joining me for the free online organic gardening workshop. Okay, I'm gonna go hang this in the house and I'll see you on the next video.